Welcome to my Vision News. Some stories from Ethiopia. Firstly, yesterday, Ethiopian government froze bank accounts of some Amhara region-based investors. Two are from Amhara, two are from Afar region. More than 30 are from the Amhara region. Bank accounts of these individuals and companies have been frozen. Now, an Ethiopian journalist today claimed that this decision was made because some of these Amhara investors are being seen suspiciously that they want to overthrow the government. The journalist has shared details of his interaction with a top commander of Ethiopian National Defense Force regarding one business group whose accounts have been frozen. Secondly, viewers, an opposition party leader from Tigray has leveled serious allegations, or you can say he has questioned in his interview the strategy adopted by Tigray generals and TPLF in the 2-year-long war. What did he say? And thirdly, around 3 days ago, BBC Tigrayans published an article about alleged kidnapping of Tigrayans. That Tigrayans were kidnapped and taken to Eritrea. They were trained there. It happened last year. What is this article claiming? Any truth in these claims? We have details for you. Firstly, viewers, yesterday Ethiopian government froze bank accounts of more than 30 investors and companies. Most of them are from the Amhara region of Ethiopia. And now most sources, news sources from the Amhara region, they are claiming that these investors are being accused of trying to overthrow the government. A journalist shared some details today. He is in the US these days. His name is Matthew McConnell. He quit journalism a few months ago, last year I think. He remained away from media, then he rejoined. Matthew McConnell says that he was with PM Abiy and with a top ENDF officer last year. And there, the top ENDF officer mentioned Star Business Group. The officer said that the Star Business Group wanted to overthrow the government. Star Business Group is one of the groups whose accounts have been frozen by the government yesterday. So, Matthew McConnell is claiming that behind this decision is Ethiopian National Defense Force, obviously Ethiopian government as well. Star Business Group was founded in 1996 by the late Menvigilit Atnafo, Webao Desta and Verco Magra. It's a huge group of companies, investments in real estate sector, in manufacturing, in transport sector. It imports edible oil, it imports construction material. And if you remember, last year we saw some reports about a lease agreement between this group and Amhara regional government. In 1997, this group got some land on lease from Amhara regional government. And the price of leased land, which it was to pay to the Amhara government, was 80 birrs per square meter. 80 birrs per square meter was the lease price. And this group acquired 220,000 square meters of land from Bahidar government, Amhara government. The group was planning to build a 5-star hotel in Bahirdar. The project could not be completed because of some issues. Through yesterday's direction, the government has not only frozen the bank account of Ababao Dasta, but also of his family members. Tadale Ababao Dasta's accounts frozen, and other family members too, like Gatahun Ababao Dasta, Solomon Ababao Dasta, Musi Babao Dasta, Bizavit Babao Dasta, and Star Business Group accounts too. Ababao Dasta's accounts as well. So basically, entire families' bank accounts have been frozen. And business groups, all accounts have been frozen as well. So what are the charges? What are the allegations against this family? If Ababao Dasta is involved in some financial irregularities, government should clarify what are the crimes committed by his family. It seems to be a case of targeting of those groups, those people who are being seen as anti-government, who government believes are planning to overthrow the government. But the government should at least tell the people what were they planning, what were they doing, any evidence. People have the right to know, and what is going to be the message from the government for business community through these measures. It means businessmen in Ethiopia will become insecure. If they know that anytime all their bank accounts can be frozen, will they invest in Ethiopia? Obviously, they will try to leave Ethiopia. They will try to invest in other countries where the investments are safe. Overall, a bad decision for business atmosphere in Ethiopia. A bad message from the government for business community. Government should take business community on board and people as well by sharing details of the crimes, irregularities, if any, committed by these Amhara businessmen and companies. According to Ethiopian army, these Amhara investors want to overthrow the government. Though we know that last year some Amhara investors helped Ethiopian federal government and Amhara regional government. Varko Etenau, Belene Kindi supported Fano, they supported Ethiopian National Defense Force. They funded the war against Tigray when Tigray forces were in Amhara region in 2021. Back then, it was Amhara investors who armed, who backed, who funded militias in the Ethiopian National Defense Force back then. But now government is accusing some of these investors of trying to overthrow the government. Secondly, a Tigrayan opposition party leader has made some revelations about the war, a 2-year-long war between Tigray forces and Ethiopian federal and regional forces. His name is Mihari Johannes, Tigray Independence Party leader. He was interviewed by a Tigrania news outlet. He claims that the decision to attack Showa backfired. That decision was made by TPLF and Tigray military generals. The military generals, some of them, and TPLF leaders, they committed a blunder. They shouldn't have gone past Dasi. They should have restricted themselves to the areas up to Dasi and Gondar. And they should have focused on retaking of western Tigray. Secondly, he accused some Tigray military commanders that they turned against the Tigray forces. He named one. He said a colonel by the name of Colonel at the K with 800 Tigray fighters fought against Tigray forces. So there were splits within Tigray Defense Force. Thirdly, he accused TPLF. The TPLF is not ready to tolerate any opposition party in Tigray. TPLF leader treat opposition parties as kids. The TPLF leaders call them kids when there are meetings between TPLF leaders and opposition parties. Now, I want to say a few words. Firstly, the decision to attack Dasi, Wollo, Kobo, etc., Woghemra, it was basically a revenge attack. Tigray forces had retaken Raya. They wanted to inflict losses on infrastructure in Amhara region, Afar region, because Amhara forces, Afar forces were part of attack on Tigray. Tigray suffered a lot back then in the first round of fighting. So they wanted to settle score with Amhara region, Afar to some extent. But since they just swept across Wollo, they thought they had a chance to reach Addis Ababa. As regards TDF's attacks towards Gondar, TDF never made it to Gondar city. Gondar's people of Gondar fought back. And his suggestion that Tigray forces should have focused on retaking of western Tigray, Tigray forces tried. They tried multiple times. They could not. Had they been in a position to retake western Tigray, they wouldn't have launched a full-scale offensive on Wollo. They tried, they could not take back western Tigray. So they thought, let's go towards Wollo. Let's reach Ethiopia-Djibouti road to put pressure upon Ethiopian army to withdraw from western Tigray. The strategy did not work. That is how I understand the situation. But serious allegations by Mihari Johannes against TPLF and Tigray generals. But again, opposition parties are not being allowed to operate freely. They have concerns, they have questions. They are not part of decision-making process. So Tigray is basically one-party rule these days. Military has joined TPLF. Thirdly, viewers, a BBC Tigrayans report is being shared by some activist journalists. BBC Tigrayans published an article 3 days ago. The writer claims that in last year, Eritrean agents, intelligence agents, kidnapped Tigrayans from Wollo. Ethiopian National Defense Force officers were on board. The Tigrayans were taken to Eritrea. They were trained. Purpose was to form anti-Tigray force, anti-Tigray group, to infiltrate a Tigray region, to carry out attacks, to collect intelligence from Tigray. Damhit type of group was in the making there. The writer has published interviews of some people whose names have been changed. They claim that they were kidnapped from Wollo, taken to Addis Ababa. Both Ethiopian and Eritrean officers were part of this plan. They were taken to Eritrea. They were trained there. Some of them managed to escape. These are very serious allegations leveled in this article that Eritrea tried to train Tigrayans. It tried to organize an anti-Tigray force of Tigrayans. And we heard about some attacks by Damhit on Tigray-Eritrea border. If you remember, in the third round of fighting, Eritrea did not acknowledge its participation in the war. When the war started, third round of fighting, it said that only those who are supporters, those who are government activists, they said that Damhit fighters were there. They were attacking Shiraro. There was no EDF. Later, everyone saw that it was basically EDF. Question is, are there still Tigrayans in Eritrea being trained, or those who were taken to Tigray and they did not return, they are still there. If there are Tigrayans there in Eritrea being trained, or who were trained and who could be launched, it could be a serious issue. That is why I say that this trust deficit between Tigray and Eritrea must be bridged somehow. Otherwise, new conflicts are not far away. Sooner or later, we'll see similar conflicts like we saw. What is needed is somehow Ethiopian government should try to play a mediatory role between Tigray leadership and Eritrean leadership. That is the way forward for lasting peace. This article is indicative of the serious trust deficit. If Eritrea is training Tigrayans to use them as infiltrators, what would Tigray do? Tigray will do the same. It will back Eritreans. It will try to prepare Eritrean agents to infiltrate Eritrean army. So this cycle going on for years will continue. What is needed is some sort of constructive engagement between Tigray and Eritrean leadership. Of course, Ethiopian government must be part of the loop as well. Thank you for watching.